The classified documents they never wanted declassified contain a disturbing truth. The human mind is not fixed. It's programmable. MK Ultra's darkest experiments prove that with the right techniques, beliefs can be implanted, memories erased, and personalities rewritten. But what the CIA developed for control, you can now reverse engineer for liberation. This isn't conspiracy theory. It's cognitive science, distilled from thousands of pages of declassified documents into practical methods that walk the razor's edge between neuroscience and what was once called mind warfare. You've felt it before, that eerie sense of being on autopilot, repeating patterns you didn't choose, reacting with emotions that don't feel entirely yours. The MK Ultra files explain why. Your mind has already been programmed by advertisers, by algorithms, by the subtle psychological architectures embedded in everything from social media to office layouts. The difference is now you can fight back with the same weapons turned to your advantage. The first principle extracted from the documents is sensory deprivation's transformative power. MK Ultra subjects confined in isolation tanks for hours experienced radical shifts in perception and suggestibility. The modern application, a simple 90-minute float tank session, can create the mental blank slate needed to overwrite deep-seated patterns. But there's a legal alternative: pre-sleep hypnagogic states. In the 30 minutes before sleep, when the brain cycles through theta waves, the mind becomes extraordinarily receptive to reprogramming. This is when you can implant new self-concepts by repeating key phrases or visualizing desired behaviors with emotional intensity. The documents reveal that trauma creates the most effective programming windows. While we won't replicate their abusive methods, we can use the natural traumas of daily life, job losses, breakups, crises, as opportunities for positive reprogramming. The 72-hour period following any emotionally charged event is when the mind's defensive barriers are down and new narratives can take root. This explains why cults target people undergoing life transitions, and how you can instead use these moments to consciously install empowering beliefs. Language patterns uncovered in the files show how specific syntactic structures bypass critical thinking. The if-when construction, when you notice yourself feeling calm, rather than if you feel calm, proved particularly effective at creating unconscious compliance. Modern hypnotherapists use this legally by framing suggestions as inevitable realities rather than possibilities. You can self-administer this technique through carefully crafted journaling exercises, writing about your desired states in the past tense as accomplished facts. Perhaps the most disturbing revelation was how easily false memories could be implanted. MK Ultra psychiatrists discovered that by combining sleep deprivation, repetitive questioning, and sensory overload, they could make subjects remember events that never occurred. The ethical inversion. You can use this same memory plasticity to remember future successes in vivid sensory detail, tricking your brain into accessing the confidence and skills of the person you're becoming. Elite athletes have used versions of this technique for decades. The documents detail how chemical agents were used to break down ego structures, making subjects more suggestible. While we reject these dangerous methods, we can leverage natural alternatives. Intense aerobic exercise to flood the brain with endorphins, followed immediately by meditation or affirmation work. The physiological state created by peak exertion creates a similar window of heightened neuroplasticity without pharmacological intervention. One of the most effective MK Ultra techniques was what operatives called pattern interrupt, completely disrupting a subject's normal routines and behaviors to create mental vulnerability. You can legally replicate this through strategic travel, new skill acquisition, or even simple habit reversals, like changing your sleep position or eating with your non-dominant hand. These minor disruptions create major opportunities to install new programming before the old patterns reassert themselves. The files reveal that operatives achieved their greatest successes by attacking identity at its root, making subjects question who they fundamentally were. The constructive inversion, deliberate identity upgrades through what psychologists now call self-concept remodeling. By systematically collecting evidence of your desired traits, keeping a proof journal of moments you exhibited them, and eliminating language that reinforces old identities. "I'm bad at this" becomes "I'm learning this." You can gradually rewrite your core self-narrative. Perhaps the most valuable discovery was the information control principle, that limiting exposure to contradictory messages was as important as the programming itself. Modern application, a 30-day mental diet where you strictly curate all inputs, media, conversations, even music, to align with your desired reprogramming goals. This doesn't mean ignoring reality, but rather creating the cognitive space for new patterns to take root before exposing them to competing messages. The documents show that the most effective programming combined multiple modalities: auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Modern brainwave entrainment technology, like binaural beats, paired with visualization and embodied practice, acting as if, creates a similar multi-sensory reprogramming effect legally and safely. The key is consistency. MK Ultra's successes came from repeated, intensive sessions, not one-off attempts. What makes these methods particularly powerful today is how they interact with our current understanding of neuroplasticity. The MK Ultra researchers were working with crude models of the brain, yet stumbled onto techniques now validated by neuroscience. When you combine their empirical discoveries with modern fMRI research, you get what might be the most effective legal mind reprogramming system ever developed. The final and perhaps most disturbing revelation from the documents was how little resistance most subjects showed once the programming took hold. The ethical inversion. Once you've successfully reprogrammed limiting beliefs, you'll find the new patterns just as self-sustaining as the old ones were. The mind doesn't care whether its programming serves or limits you. It simply runs what's installed. Your job is to ensure it's running code of your conscious choosing. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you were before the world programmed its limitations into you. The techniques exist. The science is sound. The only question remaining is, what will you choose to program?